How was that? That's people meowing on.
Welcome to Cats on Guard. It's the podcast with pilots sharing secrets from behind the cockpit door. With over 40 years combined experience, we've got stories from the sky, on the road, in hotels, restaurants, theme parks, ballparks, beaches, and more. I'm MC Howe. I have over 25 years in aviation. I've been a pilot, a flight instructor, I was even a stewardess.
And I'm Captain Richard. I've been flying for a little under 20 years, and you can't say stewardess.
Oh, I can say it. I lived it.
It's flight attendant.
It's Cats on Guard.
That's right. If you've ever wondered what really goes on with the flight crew, the cabin crew, among passengers, we're going to tell you.
Or maybe you're here because you're curious about a career in aviation. You think, I could do that, but what's it really like? If that's something you're thinking about, we've got answers. We live the day-to-day, the glamour, the glitz.
The 4 a.m. wake up.
Yeah, we're the Cats on Guard.
We're not cats.
Well, then why is it called Cats on Guard?
Be careful out there.
All right, and we're back. It's Captain MC Howe along with Co-Captain Richard Million for Cats on Guard. And a big announcement today. We are actually considering this episode our season finale. We're going to be taking a break as the summer swings into full gear because Co-Captain Richard Million is never around. And I can't do this by myself.
Well, I mean, you could. It just wouldn't be as fun to talk to yourself.
No, and you know what happened? We missed last week, which I apologize to all of our rabid listeners. Of course, if you're listening in the future, you didn't miss a thing. And I was thinking about filling the space because I didn't know if we were going to be able to record today. So I went back and I listened to the very first recording that we ever did, that monumental epic fail that it was so bad. That
I was going to ask how bad was it, because I remember it being bad.
It was not only it was technically bad. My microphone was way loud. Yours was really low. But then just our banter, our witty back and forth didn't exist. There was a lot of awkward pauses and just, it wasn't, I was like, if I could put this out there with a disclaimer, but if anybody listens to this and it's the first one they choose, they're never coming back. And I didn't want to come back after. So I decided not to put it out there. So
How about we make a mental note and we'll have this documented in the episode, but we should play like bits of how terrible it was at episode 1 in like a year.
Yeah, or 5 years if we really,
better yet, never show anyone that ever. Never
probably
mind.
better. That's probably better. But anyway, yeah, because you and I you're so very busy. You're heading off to Hawaii and you're going to airplane things and you're working too.
Airplane things. Come on. You've never been to the airplane thing. Come on.
I have never been to that one. I've never been to Oshkosh. Is that how you say it? Oshkosh? Oshkosh,
Yeah, it's called Air Venture, and apparently the locals, because like Oshkosh is just a city in Wisconsin with a lot of factories and it's a nice little town. But if you're not from there, we call it Oshkosh to go there. But I asked somebody from Wisconsin, what do you guys call Oshkosh when it's the aviation week? They call it the EAA.
The EAA. I thought they were going to say the Nerd Fest.
Oh, some people would vacate the town to get out of the way for the monstrosity.
I can believe that. I would too. I'd rent out my house and make a fortune. Maybe.
That's what they do. It's going to be a good time. Highly recommend it for aviation nerds out there.
I hope you have a grand time, and maybe one day the podcast will get so big we'll have a booth there and we'll just do a live stream and
we'll do episodes live on site as the air show's going on. We can narrate it.
Then you'll get me to one. Then you'll be happy.
All right. 2026, we're going to set that up.
Well, and for 2025, this is not it, but we're calling this a season 1 finale. The end, like the old days when the TV shows would stop when the school year stopped, and then we'll come back in the fall and we'll do more. So
you know what the best part about our seasons are? We don't have to like tune in at Tuesdays at 8, right? Like you can just put it on whenever the heck you want. It's here for you on all of the services.
Your kids are still pretty young, so they're probably not like watching network TV. My son gets really into this cop show on ABC called The Rookie.
Okay, I've heard of it.
So he streamed like all 6 seasons that are streaming on Disney Plus, and then they caught up to the live season 7, which premiered, when TV shows premiere, but they only release one every week.
And you have to sit through commercials and stuff. Is he like, why can't I fast forward it?
It's driving him insane. It's like, and then one night they shifted the time an hour early, and he missed it, and it was like, oh my God, what are you? But back in the day when that was it. You missed it. Now you wait till the morning, and it's streaming again. So
my kids we went to a hotel the other night, and they had to watch live TV. The poor things. They were like, go back, and I'm like, go back. You can't go back. They're like, no, rewind it.
I know.
You're right. Can you get rid of the ads? I'm like, these aren't ads. These are commercials. I mean, we're saying the same thing, but their idea is the 15-second ad that comes up during the Disney Plus app. And just the disconnect. Oh, they're from live TV. It was so cute to watch them think that everything was Netflix or everything's Disney Plus. Oh, boy.
Oh, it's good for them to get that exposure. So, but for you, the listener, you don't have to worry, because if you wait, a year, 6 months, whatever, if you're listening in 10 years from now, you just go right to the next one. No break whatsoever. So that's a cool thing. So that brings us to today's topic, which somebody posted a question somewhere, and I didn't write it down, but it had to do with driving. And it was basically airline pilots, you have to be so safe in the air, and you just got to be careful all the time. Does that translate to driving a car? Are pilots better drivers? To which I replied, all I know is that when I drive, I'm the only one on the road who's not a moron. Now, I preface this with my next statement. Literally 1 hour after I sent you the text that this was going to be our episode, I'm taking my kids to the park. There's this water, like river rapid area that we go to, bring our inner tubes. It's not like the Grand Canyon, but it's fun. And
okay.
So it was a super hot day. It was a Sunday, so it was really super busy. And all of the people were parked on the side of the road. It's a very narrow road leading into it. And it gets to the point where all the cars are parked on both sides. It becomes a 1-lane road, except it's both directions. So I'm trying to go one way. There's a bunch of cars coming the other way, and there's like a public service vehicle parked there with its little orange light flashing. And I pulled up at like 1 mile an hour, trying to let cars pass, and there was a driveway they could maneuver around past me. Apparently, I made contact with this police car.
You got in an accident an hour after talking about how good a driver we are.
I didn't even know it. I was going so slow, I did not feel it. But
no. Did they stop and stuff? And what happened?
No, well, that's the thing. I kept going to an overflow parking lot. Never knew this happened until I get out of the car, and there's the police ready to, write me a citation for leaving the scene of an accident.
Seriously? You hit and ran? You're a hit and run driver.
Yeah, I barely ran. I was like, I hit and crawled. That's what I did. I tapped. I nudged. What and
happened?
crawled.
Did you get a ticket?
Yeah, I got a ticket.
No, they could have moved over too.
No, they were parked.
Oh, you hit a parked car. Okay. Never mind.
So,
I take it back. You hit a parked police car. That's
yes, apparently so.
Oh my.
No less than an hour after I sent you that text about.
You know what? You saved somebody. You gave somebody else a parking spot because that officer had to leave the spot. Somebody else that wanted it jumped in it. Yeah,
that is true. I didn't think about that. Well done, me.
So stereotypical pilot driver. I think I do not align with the stereotype of being that person. I think I'm a terrible driver, honestly.
Yeah, well, my record would say the same.
So I've totaled a handful of cars. I mean, maybe more than one hand, but not recklessly. It's happened, but then I go back to like the law of primacy, or like what's learned first is best remembered. And if you remember talking about our pilot careers, I did learn to fly before I learned to drive.
I remember. Yeah, but I remember that. Yeah, you learned to fly when you were like 14 or something, right?
Yeah. And then the New York State wouldn't give you a driver's license until you're 17, but you go fly a plane around at 16 all day long. So yeah, I just did a bunch of that for a year. But regardless, of the flying skills, I do want to say that flying helps make you a more efficient driver. Like I use all of the road, like I go from the inside to the outside to the inside of the lane, right?
I
Like you
get
wouldn't
it.
just yank
Yeah.
an airplane into a bank and yank and pull because I've been with drivers, one of them that lives in my house who loves to just grab the wheel and and like jerk it
My
into the
God.
or jerk it into a turn and jerk it out of the turn and punch the and this other person that lives in my house who may or may not be able to hear me right now, uh brake pedal, gas pedal, brake pedal, gas. I'm like, just glide for a minute. Take your foot off the gas and let the car just roll. It's like great for the engine and fuel economy. Try it. No.
My God. Well, yeah. And the other person that lives in my house, the other driver, um, famous for telling me what to do and what not to do.
Like when to brake 300 yards ahead of the car in front of
No,
you.
like slow the F down. You know, you're
Eh.
going 90. You're going 90. Gee, it doesn't feel like it. Slow down. Or, uh,
I'm used to
well,
400, so
but then it got to a point where, there was some bickering. So she stopped. She stopped giving me directions, and then I would miss a turn and be like, "You were supposed to turn there." I'm like, well, "Why did you say anything?"
I've heard this story before. Sounds familiar. But
So
yeah, like a lot of the things we do in flying carry over to driving, like our descent profiles. Like ideally, you want to start down at a mileage or a distance or a time away from the airport that allows you to glide down at idle because it's efficient for saving the company gas. It's efficient for the airplane. You're not jockeying the throttles around. I do that with a car. If I have nobody in front of me and the light's red like a quarter mile up, I'll just let off the gas and let the car glide to the light. There's no reason to maintain your speed on the gas pedal and then 100 yards from the light, press the brakes. You're burning brakes, you're burning gas. It's unnecessary. So I do things like that.
that's very good technique. Do you also, when you land an airplane, use the entire runway rather than jamming on the brakes to make that one taxiway that you got in mind? Because if you don't, if you're wasting runway, it's yours to use. You should use the whole thing, really.
It's a case by case basis. Any flying techniques you use for drivers?
No, I think anyway, I just like to go fast. And I think that's been a real problem for me most of the time when I'm not hitting stationary objects, you know.
Do you go fast in the plane too, or do you follow the rules in the airplane?
I follow the rules. What are the rules? When can you not go fast? Below 10,250 knots. I do remember the time I was flying out of Atlanta. There was a departure procedure there that had, they all have speed restrictions of one kind or another. And one of them had a crossing restriction of, I think, 280 knots or something like that. I don't remember what the speed was, but that was above the 10,000. So you can go faster, right? Well, we're still below 10, and they gave us relief on the speed for that fix. So I went into the FMS to clear it, but I cleared the wrong one. I cleared the 250 at 10.
Oops.
And so next thing I know, we're looking at like 330 knots at 6,000 feet. And oops.
Oh no.
But no, we're not all good drivers. But there are a lot of stereotypes about these pilots out there. So I thought it would be fun to go into some of these and see if any of them are true or what's real out there. Like this cat I just flew with. Now, this guy could probably check every bullet point on this list I made, but I think he's an anomaly. He just lives the life. He's a single dude. He's a single white male, for one, which I think that's probably top of the list. Aren't we all white males?
Yeah, but single is like a relative because I mean we hear that men go or not men, but pilots go through many divorces in their career on the average.
Yeah, and why do they go through many divorces? Because they go through many flight attendants?
Because look at this list we're about to cover of all these stereotypes. That's exactly why. Oh my gosh. So this is like a Leonardo DiCaprio Catch Me If You Can persona. Is that what you're getting at?
I would say so. Now, he was fun. He was fun to talk to and listen to, but also drove me nuts because it's like he's working all the time. He's making all the money he can so he can pay for both his BMW and his Mercedes. And
Oh.
and he's big into gambling. So, you go out to Las Vegas and he doesn't even go to the layover hotel because he gets a comped room in every resort in town.
My
So,
gosh.
yeah.
Oh,
He's just, yeah, I wouldn't call him a gun nut. He did say he owns guns, but that's one on the list. He's conservative. He likes the ladies. So, yeah. He hits
so
it
hang
all.
on. So you're saying, okay, so gun nut, conservative, ladies man, white male is the stereotypical pilot?
I think that may be what the public persona is. I did a little research before we started this because I didn't want to come with my own biases. I borrowed some of this from the internet.
All right.
I did not go out and conduct a public poll, but I think a lot of it tracks, don't you?
Yeah, I think I hit this in another episode, but I read the other pilot by saying the word California somewhere
Yeah.
early in the
Yes,
trip,
you
right?
did. Yeah.
And based on their reaction, and honestly, I'm not sold that I wouldn't say it's. I think my borderline guesstimate, just rough math here, 70%, maybe 65%, but not overwhelmingly.
No,
It's
that's what I'm
not
saying.
9 out of 10.
These are
Yeah.
stereotypes. Are they true? That's what we're here to bust the myth or prove
Okay.
it.
No, we're not. I don't. I don't know if we're gonna prove or bust a whole myth here, um, but white male is the overwhelming majority of professional pilots.
80%, would you say, or more or less?
Survey says. Do you have it? Do you have the actual answer?
I know. I just said 80%.
Oh,
That's
I don't know.
my unscientific poll of my own brain.
I think I read something in the women in aviation. It was like 10% or something women.
Yeah, that seems about right.
But
Maybe
the
less.
minority part of it, the white versus everybody else, and how many of the other minorities, I'm not sure of. But I mean, you could just tell by how many people you fly with.
Yeah, that's true. I would go with 95% white where I fly.
Okay.
Now that you're gone, that number went up.
Yeah. For the record, I am brown, but I will not elaborate more into that.
You want me to tell him you're shade?
Mocha. Which, as the summer goes on, it goes deeper into the caramel mocha flavor. But I don't know.
Then I look forward to what you look like in the fall when we come back.
The fall season, I think I will be more of I don't know, like a cookie dough, chocolate chip cookie dough.
You'll be coming off of the summer though, so it still should be.
Oh, should be still dark. Yeah. There's time.
Yeah.
There's time.
How many times have you been on a trip? You spend all day with this person, whether you get along or not. Well, obviously, if you get along, if you're not getting along, this is not likely to happen. But you get along even just a little bit. Like you can stand each other, but you're not BFFs. But even if you're getting along like you're BFFs, and it's been a 12-hour day, and for me, I need a break. But there's always that moment in the elevator where like, so meet you down at the bar in 15 minutes.
I thought it was lobby in 10.
Lobby in 10, bar in 15, whatever.
I'm just kidding. I don't. Yeah.
Let's go drink. We got 10 hours of rest. Let's go drink until our 8-hour limit hits.
So is that the alcohol stereotype for pilots?
I think
alcoholic.
Yeah, the beer drinking.
I don't. So I want to speak to that because that's the only substance pilots can do, like professionals.
I suppose that's true. Yeah.
You know how many people like want to go home and burn a doobie or pop one of their happy pills or their sad pills or their calming pills or all these other, what else are there? All the different names. I don't know any of them because I don't get to use any of them. But there's like all kinds of stuff people can like vape and smoke and sniff and snort. We don't get to do any of that. The only substance is tobacco and alcohol that the FAA like doesn't ground us for.
That's something, isn't it?
So we're stuck to one of these.
Yeah.
I'll hold my vape up in your face, the anti-vape captain.
I'm one of two. But yeah, so that becomes a big draw then. Let's go have a beer. And read the airline pilot forums from time to time, and you'll see people getting into fights with each other. And then someone will say something that kind of redeems them in the other's eye. And it always ends with, I'd have a beer with you. I'd share a beer.
I know. Oh,
like that's the litmus test right there. Would you share a beer with this person?
Share? No. drink a different one, yes.
No, 2 straws in 1 stein.
No, but hey, while we're on the topic of pilots and substances, I read an interesting article today.
Well,
Um,
good for you.
a
Sharpen that
flight
brain.
attendant, yeah, I know, right? It was not a very long article. It was a 3-minute read at most.
Those are my favorites.
A flight attendant demanded that a passenger spit their Zin out and dispose of it. Do you know what a Zin is?
I don't, but I hope she held her hand out like the teacher, ready to take the spit and all.
If there's any nicotine users that you're flying with and you don't know it, it's because they're using Zin.
What is
Zin
Zen?
it's a little paper white pouch that has nicotine powder in it and some flavoring. But you tuck it in your lip like chewing tobacco used to be, but there's no tobacco and there's no spitting. It's like
just
safe to swallow.
So it's just it's what, nicotine?
Yeah, just nicotine and flavor. I don't know whatever else, chemicals or something. But anyway, people that can't vape or smoke or patch or chew a Nicorette gum, this is the alternative to that. And it's not. So the law, remember, in our flight attendant brief is like use of tobacco products or smokeless tobacco products are prohibited. Well, there's no tobacco in this at all. So that was the passenger's argument. This is not a tobacco product. This is a nicotine product.
Oh, interesting.
People use tobacco to get nicotine fix. Like you
So-
don't ban people from using the nicotine patch or the gum.
Well, that's true. So whose side do we take in this one?
I'm on the passenger side. Like
I think I might be too.
the regulation says tobacco or smokeless tobacco, but here's the thing: if you're on that side, the vaping doesn't have any tobacco in it either. That's just nicotine and juice.
It's true, and it's smokeless because that's not smoke that comes out of that thing.
I know it's water vapor, so it's like, oh, we're walking a tightrope with the regs and the flight attendant. So anyway, that came up. I'm interested to see if anything changes because of it.
Well, maybe we should contact Road Rules Duffy and see what he says about it.
300 people in the back, and the couple of them that are highly addicted are just shaking back there for the whole flight to LA across from Boston, just like, I need it, somebody.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
Well, they sell this in the airport terminal.
Do they really?
It's there as an alternative to being able to smoke.
I guess. Yeah, I've never heard of this stuff before. Not my bag, man.
Next time you get some like hip young 20s first officer, ask him if he's got any upper decky lip pillows, and he'll know what you mean.
Okay, good. I will. Well, if they're not zinning and they're not smoking and they're not vaping next to me, they want to go to the bar and drink. And I don't even like drinking that much. And I don't know why I'm so likable that anybody's inviting me out, because that's not my persona here, is it?
I don't know. We had good drinks. So of course I was on my cocktails with the frozen fruity umbrella on top stuff. I think when we went out for
No,
beers.
we were very tropical, sand in our toes, and yeah.
Another daiquiri, please.
I have to tell you, I just did a trip in the Dominican Republic. We stayed at a resort right on the beach, and it was so boring. There was nothing. There was the beach, which is nice, but there was no reef. There was no like snorkel gear. There were no boats to take out. So it was okay. Beach. I'll go swimming. Then I went to the pool to wash off the salt, and I was just kind of, I don't know. I'm done with this place. I missed you on that one. That's what I'm saying.
The DR. You'd hope that would be something to do. How long was your layover?
It was like 25 hours, something like that.
Oh,
I mean, it was plenty of time. You know what?
Okay.
I should have left the resort. The FO brought his wife, and they were kind enough to invite me to dinner. And they were like, "We're going to go into town." And I said, "Okay, that sounds fun." And then they changed their mind, so we just stayed at the resort. I should have gone into town.
Yeah, that would have livened it up a bit.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, that goes against the stereotype of pilots being cheaters. This pilot would have gone out and yanked some local Dominican woman and had the night of his life or whatever we want to. That's the stereotype. Meanwhile, the guy you flew with had his wife travel along with him.
Yeah.
So they can enjoy the Dominican. That's the other side we don't hear about, is the things we do to keep our steady ladies, like the non-cheaters and non-womanizers, right?
Honest to God, I rarely fly with anybody who I can say definitively has cheated on their wife or husband. It's not something we talk about either. Is it?
I don't know, man. Maybe it's just because of the environment maybe the people I keep, but I've known quite a few, unfortunately. But I did know one guy. I should call him. I haven't talked to him in years, but he told me something once when we were out, and he's had a great marriage, like long time, 40, 50 years, like Air Force veteran. And he told me once as we were walking around the streets, and all these skimpy looking women are walking by, and I can't keep my eyes to myself. And he goes, "Hey, read the menu, eat at home." And I went, "What?" He goes, "I see you reading the menu, eat your meal at home." And I went, "Oh my," and I kept to it to this day. Like it's such a
Solid advice.
great, yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Why even read the menu though? Because if you can't do anything, why
Uh,
bother? It's not worth any time.
that's a personality dig on me, but yeah, it's okay. I like to read the menu. I like to window
Okay.
shop too. I mean, I look at motorcycles at the dealership. Doesn't mean I'm going to take one home.
Well, you're a motorcycle guy, so you're a stereotypical pilot. Then here we go.
I
Because if
have
you
guns
know,
too. Ah.
yeah, gun, and you own an airplane, do you not? Guns, motorcycles, and airplanes. That is the trifecta. When I go to work, I know that's going to be at least one of those is coming up in conversation.
Oh no, it happened. I'm sorry. I'm your
No, no.
stereotypical.
Oh no,
All right. So,
because we all own lots of toys, right? We
yeah.
own guns and we own motorcycles. We own big fancy swimming pools and boats and airplanes and multiple houses. And do we though? How many of these guys that very rarely do I fly with somebody who I feel like that guy's knocking it out of the park, man. He's making so much money and he's just spending it like there's no tomorrow. Usually it's these guys that are, they got kids, they got wives, they got mortgages to pay. Nobody's got time for any of this stuff. Plus, we're all
Alimony
exhausted.
payments.
Yeah. Multiple ex-wives.
I think that we should never take financial advice from a fellow pilot.
Oh no, certainly not. You shouldn't
And
take any of it.
they have nice things, but they have their nice things, and that doesn't mean it'll work for your nice things or the way you want your money to work.
Absolutely not. But pilots, um, that's a good topic for another issue because how many times you get up there and you start talking about whatever it is, whether it's the company you work for, whether it's politics, all the problems in the world, we all have the solution, don't we?
Well, they think we do. Well, you think you do, but the other person, you don't know their setup, their scenario. I know how many times I got unsolicited advice from another pilot while we're flying along for 4 hours. And I'm like, dude, like, I don't say it, but I'm like, none of this works for me because you're in your situation and I'm in. Okay, here's another one. The Captain FO pay scale difference is like it's a 6-digit number, the difference between the left seat and the right seat. There's a disparity between the
Yeah.
two.
Yes.
It's sometimes a gap of 100,000 more dollars, if not more.
Mhm.
So
Can be.
yeah, absolutely can be. And when they're talking about what you got to do is you got to pick at least 60,000 and you got to stick it in commodities and then you got to take another 100 and I'm like, "Bro, I barely make my phone and rent payment." This is like when I was first starting out, like I barely make my car payment every month. I want 60,000 laying around. Come on.
But also, how many of us, and there are plenty, I'm sure, that know how to play the market and they invest wisely. But there's another side of it. And there's people like me that the only thing I took away from economics class is that I don't know if it's economics or economics. So,
I knew a guy, a slam clicker. I flew with a slam clicker once, and the slam clicker had like 3 laptops in his bag, and he would day trade at the hotel. So he would power nap, and then he would the day trading versus regular, like you're
versus
making
night trading.
No,
No,
you're making like
no,
quick, large
I don't know any of this
transactions.
stuff. That's why I'm poor.
I've seen your house. You're not poor. But anyway, he would day trade until the minute he had to go back and fly, and I just made 25 grand today. I'm like, holy crap, dude, really? He's like, yeah, you may have pushed the button a couple of times. Yeah, that was his
Well,
slam click job.
yeah. So I'm a button pusher in the airplane. He's a button pusher in the hotel. And
I
he's
know
doing
people that
better
are
than
real
we are.
estate agents. The real estate agents are able to make calls and transactions for their listings when they're on the road. They do showings when they're home, and they make a good living as a side hustle with that.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's a stereotype, but I feel like every pilot has some sort of side hustle, don't you?
Yeah, not every pilot, but and I'm one who does not, and I think about it from time to time that I should. And then somebody once asked a pilot, "What's your side hustle?" And he said, "Open time." So, if you think about that, you go to work, you pick up a 2-day trip, you get $3,000-$4,000 just doing the thing that you already know how to do, and that's just extra money,
All right.
you know?
So if I didn't work with you in the past, I wouldn't even know what open time was. But that is the unfilled flying that doesn't have a pilot assigned to it yet.
Correct. There's a
So
trip coming up on Thursday. They don't have a pilot yet. You can look into going into the scheduling software and see that trip is uncovered. Say, I'll take it. There, you get it.
that's at straight pay, right? Like
Depends who
100,
you work
like
for.
the normal rate. Okay, and then like if it gets to like emergency time, you can pick it up at like a premium. Like
Yeah.
it's 1 day out, nobody's on this trip yet, and they don't have anybody to fly it. So now it's double time or triple time.
Yeah, it
And
all
now that
depends.
3,000 might be 9,000 by the night prior.
All depends on what airline you work for and what their contract says.
Gotcha.
Yep. So, yeah, for me, when I think about, do I really want to get involved in another business? Do I want to work for somebody else? Do I want to run my own business? I have no idea how to do that. And then you're paying a ton more in taxes and insurance for, depending on what it is, versus, oh, I'll just pick up some extra trips. That's pretty easy and safe.
That's
So,
a great point. You do what you already know how to do, and you don't have to actually learn something new, and you just get extra money for it. That's a really good. I like that. Well, what other stereotypes you got?
well, I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read something that somebody posted. Now, this I took straight off of Reddit that somebody posted. It's a pretty good list, and I'll be honest with you, I think it's pretty damn accurate. So, this person posted, "I'm only going to do airline stuff. Long sleeves equals micromanager. Old guy with glasses equals gonna say something racist in the cockpit. Mustache will somehow screw up where you're supposed to stand for the hotel van." That one I don't get, but whatever. Old guy without glasses equals walking sexual harassment lawsuit.
Great.
Guy that looks like a dope equals has no idea how MELs or de-icing works. Middle-aged guy that looks like the churchy type equals systems god. Guy that says he's pretty laid back equals isn't very laid back. I think that's pretty accurate.
Okay.
Which goes along with the next one. Guy that says he does everything by the book equals doesn't do anything by the book except for one specific thing. And you'll find out when you don't do that one specific thing exactly by the book.
That's the big the big exclamation point on this list right there.
Yeah. Here's me. Old guy with long sleeves equals going to be asleep by 10,000 feet. No, I don't
Bruh.
sleep in the airplane. Old guy that wears a baseball hat equals don't swear in front of him.
Nope.
Old guy at a regional equals got some story how he was going to work at AirTran in '99, but didn't think it would pan out. Oh, he'd be at Southwest now. Old guy that squints a lot equals gonna be cool to fly with. I don't get that one. Younger guy with a haircut equals probably just bought a boat or he just got back from Colorado. Young guy without a haircut equals can't believe they hired that person at Delta. Guy who puts music in the cockpit equals it's going to be really lame music. And then finally, all pilots equals asks what kind of IPAs do they have. Oh, that would be in the bar. That would
Absolutely not.
No?
No IPAs. Zero IPAs here.
Oh, okay. Why not?
No, I'm anti IPA.
What'd they ever do to you?
I don't know. They suck, in my opinion.
You're too expensive because you're cheap. Well, that's the next.
There's the biggest stereotype.
That is the next one.
Oh, we are so cheap. Like
Aren't we?
we're gonna walk 12 extra minutes because I'm not paying to park in that parking lot. Like, how many times have you heard that at like an overnight? Or like, we should walk 3 miles instead of taking Uber because Uber's $8.
Here's one for you. Yesterday, I was out in Southern California. There's a battleship, a museum battleship, and it was an 11-minute car ride. And I was interested in the tour, but I would much rather walk. So I mapped it on Google Maps. That 11-minute car ride is a 4.5-hour walk.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I know what
So
you're talking about. Yeah.
do you think I paid for that Uber to go that 11 minutes?
100%.
No, I didn't go.
You just didn't go at all?
I didn't go.
My gosh, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I tried to look it up. I wanted to take those scooters that they have outside the hotel there
Yeah.
for that battleship tour because it's like on the other side of the bridge. But you're not
Yeah, you
allowed to
gotta.
take the scooter
That's
over
the
the
problem.
bridge.
If I could walk across the bridge, I could probably do it in half an hour.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Yep.
it's a good. I haven't been to that museum yet. I'll have to remember to do it next time.
I'm not gonna pay $30 for an Uber and then another 30 to walk around on the boat. That's insane. I know I might got that kind of cash. That's because I don't spend it.
So, do you want to hear a cheap stories? This hotel we used to stay at in South Texas. The owner of the hotel also owned the Tony Romas in the mall. Do you know who Tony Romas is?
Yeah. When
I
I
don't know
was
if
a
they're
flight attendant, I had a fellow lady flight attendant who claimed that she was Tony Roma's ex-wife.
Oh,
Like,
cool.
there's an actual guy, Tony Roma.
Yeah, like the it's like an Applebee's but a little nicer, right? Like it's
Yeah.
a little upscale Chili's or
Yeah.
something. Anyway, they have good ribs. Anyway, he would give the front desk these $10 off coupons to Tony Romas because he owned both the hotel and the restaurant. And if they ever had to schmooze over some mishap at the hotel and make somebody happy, like, hey, here's a couple of these coupons, go get Tony Roma's on us tonight. Well, the dude was a genius because if you take your family over there with $20 off your bill, you're still gonna spend $100 something on steaks that night.
Heck yeah, you are.
But how about when the pilots get to know the staff at the hotel, and then every one of them that checks in that's like gold status or higher gets a $10 coupon? Well, tell me what a pilot would do with a $10 off coupon to a restaurant. No mid spend, no percentage, $10 off your bill. What does a pilot do with that coupon?
You're gonna order the cheapest thing you can find that fits that $10.
Is that embarrassing? Like
Yeah.
with the
The
money they pay
salad,
us,
the soup, whatever.
the $10.95 lunch special, and then you get a bill for 95 cents. They would do this all. I'm like, guys, this is embarrassing. We make good money. Just order the prime rib and get $10 off of it, and or get a nice, sip of bourbon or something for your, like, no, we're gonna get the 10.95 lunch special, water with lemon, please, and I'd like my change, like from the $11.
No.
It's like
You
you've
know what?
got to be kidding me.
All of that is true, but if I'm going out, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna enjoy it.
What
Although
was my favorite? One of my favorite overnight meals was with you.
I know, yeah,
It
of
was
course it was.
what was the name of the place? It was a Brazilian steak, Fogo.
Texas to Brazil.
It
Was
was
it Fogo de
Texas.
Chao?
I
Texas to
don't
Brazil.
remember. Just endless meat.
Yeah, it was good. Now, going back to that coupon, I was in Nashville or Memphis, somewhere in Tennessee, and I had a jump seater who came up, and there's this barbecued rib place, smoky rib, whatever, barbecue place in the airport, a little in the food court. He says, yeah, my family owns this. And he whips out he's riding on my jump seat. So, when you ride a jump seat, sometimes people bring candies, they schmooze the gate agent, they give something to the flight attendant. This guy pulls out my family owns this rib joint over here in the food court and hands it to me and says, go buy yourself lunch.
Oh
And I
wow,
mean,
how cool!
this was the greatest jump seater I ever had. And yeah, so thanks to
So
that.
you got
I wish I knew his name.
free
Yep.
barbecue for lunch.
Sure did. Sure
Like
did.
what? Did it have like a one free dinner on the house?
No,
What did it look? Was it a
yeah,
card?
it was just a meal. Whatever you want, get a meal.
So cool at the airport.
Yeah, at the airport. Mhm.
And the staff knew to take. Like I would think if I ever had a coupon in an airport, the airport waiter would be like, "Not here, because this is an airport."
Oh, I know. They took it. No questions
Nice.
asked. Yeah, it was
That's
pretty
so
cool.
cool.
Yep.
I
So
I think I got a gift from a jump seater, where was it, Guatemala or something, and they brought fresh local coffee beans for us
yeah.
as a
Oh,
thank you for the jump seat. And I actually am just getting through the very end of it now. I've been sparingly putting it in my coffee machine
let
on
me ask you
occasion.
this: when they presented you with these coffee beans, how did they package them for you?
Ha, very funny.
No, I'm serious. I'm
It was
serious.
just in the foil bag that they come in when they're made. Like
Oh, like from the factory?
Yeah, like
Okay, because I've gone down to places like Guatemala, Costa Rica, and I don't remember if it was one or both or some other place like that, where some of the ramp agents grow it in their backyard, and
oh,
they bring it in a brown paper bag and sell it to the flight crews.
that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool, and I have bought it. And I don't even drink
What's in the
coffee.
bag?
Well, that's the thing. You're coming back through.
TSA.
You come back to U.S. Customs. You have anything to declare? Well, I got this brown paper bag with some stuff in it. So, you know.
I haven't actually looked. They said it was coffee. I don't know.
Uh,
It's at 2.2 pounds exactly.
yeah, but it was cheaper than getting it at your local Publix. You know,
That's cool. Yeah.
and
And
it
it's
goes
from the source.
it goes back to the cheapness of us all.
All right. One more cheap story for you.
If you've only got one,
I've got plenty, but it's a whole episode worth.
okay.
I'll give you one of. So we actually my old airline got like booted from a hotel because
Oh no!
yeah, our pilots were so cheap with the breakfast food that they were stealing it all,
My gosh!
and they were finding all this food in the rooms during the checkout cleanup, like
Oh jeez!
half-eaten yogurts and bananas that had gone bad 2 days ago, and those Jimmy Dean sandwiches that they sometimes put out for you can microwave like a sausage egg. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Like hoarding them. Like, let me take 4 of these up to the room. I'll have one here and then eat 3 more later and then just like pass out on the couch and not eat it and then
That's a
check
bit
out and leave
much.
it. It's
That's
wasting. It's really
it's
bad.
it's terrible. Now I have, if you go down to breakfast and they got the bread that you could put in the toaster, and they got all these spreads. They got peanut butter, they got jellies, they got jams. And I look at this like, well, I could take 2 slices of bread and a peanut butter and a jelly up to my room, and I got lunch later. I've done that very seldom, but
But you ate
to-
it. You didn't just throw it in the
yeah,
trash and leave it on
I
the
didn't
desk.
leave
Yeah.
it there for days worth of food. No, that's good. Good for getting
Yeah.
kicked out. You deserve that, cheap bastards. Well, but you know what? It's okay because these pilots, they're always right, and they have to be in control. So if they decide that leaving the food in the room is the way to go, isn't that the way we do it? We shouldn't question that because these are you know where I'm going.
I
These-
do, because if you tell those people that they're they'll think, oh, we got removed from that hotel. Must have been some dumbasses, right? It wasn't ever self-reflecting on them being the reason they're kicked out. It's going to be, oh, somebody must have been partying too hard, and that's why we got kicked out. Like, no, dude, it's you.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to correct those people because they're all A types. Aren't we all A type personalities?
Probably not, but yes.
No, I know I'm not. God, somebody asked me like, oh, I say something, and I try to use, assert my authority, which I'm not very good at, to be honest with you. I've tried to be mean. I've tried to be a jerk. People don't believe it. So nothing goes my way. But then I'll say something. I'll give a command, I'll give an order, and I'm like, okay, whatever you say, you're the boss. And I'm like, yeah, just until I walk back in the house. But yesterday, I get on the airplane. You just sit down. You're getting settled. You're setting up your nest. You haven't even gone through your preliminary flows, getting your plane ready to go. Haven't even looked through the paperwork. Don't know the flight time. Don't know the ride conditions. Don't know anything. Flight attendant comes in, and she brings you a glass of water. Introduce yourself. Very, very, very good. I'll be back in a minute, she says. I said, what for? For my briefing. I said, I'm not going to have your briefing ready in a minute. Well, I'm coming back for it. And you should know that I'm the HBIC.
No.
You know what that stands for?
I know what the bad version of that is, but I don't know. Tell me what the B is.
It's a lady dog.
Okay, got it. That's what I thought.
That's what you thought. So she's the head lady dog in charge.
Yeah.
And now that's an A-type right there. But these pilots, man, you can't tell them anything. We all know. We all want to be the boss. Isn't that the stereotype, though? And I think that one's pretty close to accurate.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it is kind of required to have some sort of assertive authority to captain a ship, right? But you'd hope that one of my biggest like trying to improve, not trying to improve, but like for a long time, I've always worked on like, was I an a-hole, or did I take criticism, or was there something I could have done different that would have made this better? And I like to think about like, he told me that I was fast, and I said, I got it.
You know what? I think that's a very good point that you bring up. And here's a lesson that we can all learn. Years ago, before my kids sucked all the creative energy out of me, I had a lot of free time, and I used that as a writer. I used to write fiction. I used to write stories, short stories. I wrote novels. I was very prolific at it, and I was very good at it. Unfortunately, I'm a terrible salesman, so very few people have ever read anything I've read. But I used to go a lot of critique groups, and we would read each other's stuff. And what I learned there is, when you're going to give a criticism, always sandwich it with something good.
The compliment sandwich, yes.
Yeah, it's the compliment sandwich. You say something nice, then you give the critique, and then you follow that with something nice again. And I tell you, that goes a long way, because I have given some pretty cruel critiques in my day, and I get a lot of thanks at the end of it.
Because you sandwiched it with niceness.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
my lady does the same thing. She learned about that. It's like compliment sandwich, and I was like, why can't I just tell you that sucked? No, you have to compliment sandwich, or I can't receive this information.
Because you want people to accept it. If you do it in a mean way, and I still struggle with that at home sometimes too, but if you do it in a mean way, nobody wants to listen to you, because we're in a world where nobody changes their mind about anything anyway. So
does a type A accept the compliment sandwich, or does a type A just want to hear the criticism?
No.
The sandwich, like the white part of the Oreo.
Yeah, they're just gonna have the bread, the white bread. They're gonna toss out the good parts. They don't want. Yeah, the type A only wants the praise. Isn't that true?
Well, I meant when offering the criticism. Like maybe this is, I don't know, maybe I'm not understanding if I'm type A or not, but if I want to give not the compliment sandwich. I want to tell you that approach sucked. Do better.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think that's going to go over that well.
But is that type A or not?
Well, I did that once. I had a guy slammed it in so hard that I insisted that he go outside and do a very thorough walk around before determining if I needed to call maintenance. And
oh my gosh.
It was a horrible landing. It was really hard. But he was so butthurt by my even mentioning it that, there was no learning that day.
That was pretty Richard of you. Hey, that was a double pun.
How's that?
Because doing the Richard Million thing by just getting right to the point, but also the other word for Richard.
Oh, you clever little so-and-so.
Oh, look at me. I'm going to celebrate over here on my microphone. So, hey, I think we have a couple more left, but I want to talk about the gun nut part.
Absolutely.
So, do federal flight deck officers count as gun nuts?
Have we ever talked about them before on the podcast?
I don't know. Does anybody know what those are? Should we even be saying what those are? Like, I don't know.
Maybe
you can Google it, right?
Yeah, it could act as a deterrent if we say these are people in the planes that are armed and dangerous. So don't try to come up front.
But you won't know who they are, and they don't have to identify themselves or anything. Like, you just find out later.
No, but let's explain it. A federal flight deck officer is a pilot, an airline pilot, who is authorized to carry a what do you call it, firearm?
So it's a carry permit for at work. If you work in the airport, because otherwise you can't bring your gun to the airport.
They are considered. Is it the Marshals program that administers it? The federal Marshals?
I don't know. Never did it.
It's a federal government program. They are considered officers of the law, although I once was trying to. So one of these guys told me that they get a badge. They actually get a badge like a police officer. And one guy was telling me he flashes his badge, his FFDO badge, to get out of speeding tickets. And I was telling a cop friend of mine, and he's like, "Wait a minute, what? What is this program?" He said, "If a guy ever tried that with me, I'd give him 2 tickets." So,
I've heard that too. They are technically federal agents.
Some of them, most of them, I will say, the vast majority of them keep their weapon where I don't see it. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Others have it in full view at all times. And those are the guys that scare me because I guarantee that person has never fired a gun in the vicinity of another human. And if it ever comes down to it and they're pulling it out, they're going to be so freaking nervous. I'm shaking. Like I got the gun in my hand and I'm turning and my hands are shaking because I'm nervous. And by the time I point it at my captain, it's going off before.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm going to be the one dead.
No.
One time.
It's a legitimate concern.
This is a program that started after 9/11. Georgie Bush put it in place. And in all those years, the 20 plus years since, one time a gun has been fired in the flight deck. And do you know why?
Accidental discharge.
No, they were goofing around. They were like, hey.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's what happened. They were goofing
Check
around
this
with it.
out. Want to
Yep.
see what I could do? See how fast
100%.
I could draw it out? Oh, my God.
And and they put a hole in the fuselage.
That's hilarious. But
U.S.
also,
Airways, I think it was.
Cactus.
But they don't exist anymore, so you can look it up.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I would love to see like the CVR transcript of how that went on. Like, dude, check out the safety on this thing.
Oh my
It's
God.
wild. And it's like, is that safety on? I don't know. Bang.
Yeah. But no, there's plenty of guys out there. They got their AKs and they got their whatever. They got arsenals and they go out shooting all the time. What are you doing? What are you doing? What do you like to do on your days? Shooting. I'll go shooting. Oh, shooting what? Or they're just paranoid.
Paper. Yeah, for the zombies. And
well, if it's for zombies, that's legit. I've always thought one of the places I would love to lay over if the zombie apocalypse were to break out, I'd like to be next to a Bass Pro Shop when that happens.
then you can go get whatever you need. Like nobody else had that idea either.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'm right there. I'll be the first one.
Oh, okay. I am also kind of paranoid about zombie apocalypse, so maybe I am that kind of conspiracy guy or whatever. The most nervous I'd ever been about wanting to have a gun is during the COVID stuff.
Really?
Because
when nobody was going anywhere?
Well, that's the thing. There was like a little while there where I'm like, what happens if the food, and this is just a little inner thought that I wouldn't share with my family, but I'm like, what if the food supply chain stopped for like a week? Like just a week, and you couldn't go into the grocery store and you just couldn't feed your family? Like the have-nots will start coming after the haves.
Well,
and so those who have are either going to have to share and have nothing at the end of sharing. Because like what happens with seagulls when you throw one a piece of bread?
That's true.
Like 15 seagulls show up, right? So it started going to my head. It started spinning around. And what do we have to do all day during lockdown? Nothing but worry and think and ponder. And I'm thinking, well, if I give one seagull a piece of cracker, 20 seagulls want crackers. Now I have no crackers for me and my family. So I was like, what happens if somebody comes knocking and wants stuff from my fridge? Like, or the generator I was running when the power went out. They don't have power. I have power. Why do I have power? Because I have a generator. Well, guess what? They want that generator. Well, now what? So I started like loading magazines upstairs in my room. And I was like, I'm going to put every bullet in every gun I got. And I don't know. And I didn't.
You really did this?
Nothing happened. Oh, I really did that. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you would have survived because you're kind of a nice guy. And if watching The Walking Dead has taught me anything, it's that only the worst of the worst will survive that apocalypse.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, I'd share with my neighbor. But then when other people hear that my neighbor got some, then,
That's the thing. So you can't even share with your neighbor. I wouldn't even give it to my kids. That's all.
Kick them to the street. You're terrible.
You guys are on your own. Figure it out.
You can make more kids next time around after the
my son
apocalypse.
is turning 14 years old tomorrow. If he hasn't figured out how to live in a post-apocalyptic world, then I have failed, and I guess we both deserve to get taken out.
Oh boy, can he fish and garden for himself?
No,
but
neither can I. I can garden. I can't fish. No, never fished. Never wanted to fish. Why? There's grocery stores and restaurants. What do we need to do that for?
Oh my gosh.
So
I outed myself as a conspiracy paranoid guy.
No, but that's a legitimate fear. I don't think. I think everybody would go along with that one.
Okay, just during COVID. That's all.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we've hit pretty much all of it, haven't we?
Yeah. Did you hear something? Did you hear something weird? Maybe those are zombies at my door.
Oh, I didn't hear your door. There are zombies running around my yard. I've got a window in my studio, and the kids are out playing the dark game. Did you ever
Oh,
play the
cool.
dark game when you were a kid?
Is that like
You just run
Manhunt?
around. You just run around in the dark and you hide from each other and scare each other.
Yeah, we call it Manhunt.
Yeah, they're playing all over the neighborhood, but they keep running
That's
past my
cool.
window here, making faces
Okay,
at me.
that's what I was like. Did a zombie walk by me or you or what?
I think that's what it was.
It's gonna grab my desk gun, that's just sitting here readily at all times. And
Well, here's the thing: we're going away for a while, and if we don't come back, that may be why. So keep tuned in, and anything that might, you never know, some fun things might occur, and we do a special, summer special episode. I don't anticipate that, but it could happen. Check your feed.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe, as we're supposed to say to
Oh
everybody.
gosh, smash that like button, right? We're not those people, though. We won't be those people.
No. But
keep emailing us though. We need more ideas for next season.
And I wasn't never even expected we were doing seasons, but life has taken hold and said we need a break, so we're gonna take one.
Got next season. Let's sneak preview next season though. I forgot to put this up there. We've got more Cats on Guard at the movies.
Absolutely.
We've got, what else do we have? We had a couple of other coverage.
One thing that we need to do was we need to go back to the beginning, how we became pilots. What was our flight training? And a lot of that was covered in the horrible episode that will never air. But we need to do that. We need to talk about our early days and what it takes. And I
think we had some accident investigation coverage. We wanted to talk about some commonly. Anyway, so we've got at least a few in the can ready to go. Just
speaking of the dead pilots, aviation accidents. You said it.
Yep. So we'll give Dan Grider a run for his money.
So don't have a schedule yet of when we'll be back. Maybe September, October, something like that. And in the meanwhile, tell all your friends. You may even see Cats on Guard stickers in certain places. I hear they've been popping up.
QR code.
I hear they've been popping up in airport restrooms, on toilet paper holders. That'd be fun.
Taxi cabs, downtown New York City, and the street lights. Yeah.
So keep an eye out. Tell your friends, and we will see you when we get back from our little summer hiatus.
See you next season.
I am your co-captain, MC Howe.
I'm co-captain Richard Million.